Moin Moin and welcome to Ralfs Foto-Bude. At the Photokina this year in Cologne, Nikon presented the third full-frame camera this year. So it started with the D610, the follow-up of the D600, then the D810, and now we have the D750. So that's the newest model. If you look to the sensor, the 610 and the 750, this one both have a 24 megapixel full frame sensor, and the 810 has the 36 megapixel full frame sensor. So that's the professional model. These are also professional, but a little bit more for the amateur or advanced photographers. These are the right models. Comparing the 750 with the 610, because both of them has the 24 megapixel sensor, if you compare them, there are some differences. One of the main difference, or one of the important difference, that's the control monitor. You can turn the control monitor like this. Let's turn the camera on and put the menu. It's a little bit easier to see. You can turn the monitor like this, a little bit higher than 90 degrees, and you can turn the monitor downwards like this, so you can take pictures over your head and still see the monitor. If you look here at the construction, that's very durable, that's very it's a very good construction. It's not simple, it's firm, and if you turn the monitor it works real good. So Nikon says when we make a turnable monitor in professional cameras, it has to be very solid and durable, because the professionals want to have a good long working monitor. And so this was one of the reasons why Nikon didn't put in the professional models a turnable monitor. Next point, we have a Wi-Fi module in the camera, but honestly you only can transmit pictures. You don't have the remote control via smartphone. I haven't found it. Maybe they put it in a later firmware, or they put it in a later app for the smartphone, but I didn't found it. I still have the camera only 2 days, or now 2 days, so I couldn't prove everything, but I don't think they have a remote control via the smartphone. But you can transmit the pictures, and in former models 610, 810, you have to have this extra stick, the extra Wi-Fi stick. Now it's built in the camera. And we have some new features talking about video function. I will show you later these features. Some very interesting, or one very interesting feature we have here at the 750. Yeah, so these are the main differences. Still the same sensor as I said before. Looking to the buttons and dials of the 750, you may recognize it's almost exactly the same like in the other cameras. We have the switch here to turn between autofocus and manual focus, and it's still a button where you can press to change the different autofocus modes. We have the bracketing function, we have the built-in flash here to pop out the internal flash. On the side of the camera we have the connectors for the remote control, and then for microphone and headphone, and HDMI and USB. Talking about the HDMI connection, yes, we have the live picture about over the HDMI output, so you can use an external monitor when you make videos to control the picture on a real good monitor, and a bigger monitor than the display is. I will show you later one important setting in the menu, because if this setting is wrong you may not get the picture over the HDMI output, but I will show you this later on when I go quick to the menus. Looking on the top of the camera, here we have the program dial with different settings, PASM as usual. Then we have the effects, U1 and U2 for the individual settings, scene mode, flash off, and the green, the auto mode. Under the program dial, you have to press the button to change the programs. Under the program dial, we still have the different settings here for the speed. Single, continuous low, continuous high, the 2 quiet modes, the self timer and mirror up for macro photography. So this is the setting on this side. Going to the right side of the camera, here we have the second display, the top display. Here you can change the different meterings, video button, the correction button to make the corrections, to change to make the corrections. Sorry, on-off button and the shutter. Going to the back side of the camera, one good thing, even if they put in bigger, not bigger, but the display has to be a little frame, because you have to put it in the frame to make it turnable. And even if this is a little bit bigger than at the other cameras, we still have the buttons here on the side to change the different settings: menu, white balance, quality, ISO setting, and the I button. So we still have the fast options here to change the most important settings: replay and trash, AEL, AFL for auto exposure and autofocus. This one was the exposure correction button. Sorry for this. Info button and the 4-way button to set the different autofocus points and to work in the menus. And here we have the live view button for photo and for video. So you see the layout of the buttons is similar to all the other Nikon cameras. There are not the big differences between these cameras in these class. So even if you look to the D7100, 610, 810, it's quite similar. So if you know one of these cameras, you will find it very fast to work with this camera, with the 752. At the side of the camera, we have the compact flash, the SD cards compact flash. Yes, that's a long time ago. The compact flash cards. We have 2 compartments, and you can set up in the menu how they should work. I will show you later which settings you can make in the menu. And we still have the 2 dials, one front dial here and one back dial here. And in addition to this, we have 2 buttons here, the FN button and the PV button on the front side. And these 2 buttons I will show you later in the video function are very interesting because you can program them in a certain way. Okay, so these are the buttons and dials of the camera. Now let's have a look into the menu, and there are some very interesting points I will show you. So go to the menu. You may recognize that the menu is exactly the same like in the other Nikon cameras. There are no big differences. We have the store folder, file naming, and here is the point which I said before, the role play by the second card slot. Here you can decide if you want to have it as an overflow, backup, or RAW on slot 1 and JPEG on slot 2. Image quality, for sure, we have fine, normal, and basic. And in addition, we have RAW and the combination of RAW and JPEG in the 3 different settings. Then we have the image size, large, medium, and small. Image area, here you can change between FX format, full frame, and DX APS-C format, or in the middle the 1.2 magnification, down magnification with 30 by 20 millimeter size. And you can put on the auto crop. If you have DX lenses, the camera recognizes automatically that you use a DX lens and change the image size from FX to DX. JPEG compression, size or quality optimization. Then we have the nav raw recording, different settings here, you know this, white balance, picture control. Again, I show you this one in monochrome because you have in addition different settings here. You have sharpening, clarity, contrast, brightness, and in the black and white setting you have the filter effects for yellow, orange, red and green. Yellow, orange and red are the three settings if you make landscape and you want a real nice blue sky, and this one should get very black and or very dark in the black and white, then you will use the yellow, orange or red. If you make portraits in black and white, use the green filter, and then the skin gets a real nice black and white image, and it's very natural and not too dark or too light. Okay, so let's go out of the picture control. You can manage the picture control and save the different settings here. Then we have this color space, active delighting, HDR, vignette control and auto distortion control for the lenses, long exposure noise direction, high ISO, sensitivity, and here we can look what the range of ISO setting is we have. The lowest normal ISO setting is ISO 100, and then we have the three low settings going down to low 1 with ISO 50. Going up to the highest ISO setting. The standard highest ISO setting is 12,800, but we go up to high 1. Here's high 1, 25,600, and to high 2, 51,200. That's the highest ISO setting. And still we have for sure the auto ISO sensitive control. And the good thing, there we don't have only the maximum sensitivity, that's the value here we can set. I suggest 3200 or maybe 6.4. You have to look how the noise is and decide by yourself. But also we have the minimum shutter speed. What does it mean? When you have a wide angle lens with like 30 millimeter, you should not use longer shutter times than 1/30 of a second, and so you can make up the setting here 1/30 of a second. If you use a telephoto lens like with 200 millimeter, you should go to a value like 1/200 of a second. What does it mean? When you're out there shooting and you make a picture and the ISO setting is like ISO 100, shutter speed is 1/400 of a second, everything is fine. Light goes down and the shutter speed, you don't change the aperture, and the shutter speed goes down to like 1/100 of a second. Then you go under the limit of 1/200, that's under the limit, and the ISO sensitivity goes up. And so every time you get a longer exposure time of this time you set here in the menu. The ISO sensitivity goes step by step by step up, as so long as you have a minimum time of 1/200 of a second. So that's the setting here, minimum shutter speed. So you always get shutter speeds faster than the time you set here and not longer. So that's a good protection against unsharp pictures because of shaking. So that's very good. I like this one very much because not every brand or not every camera has this individual setting of the shutter speed. Remote control mode, multiple exposure, interval timer shooting, and that's it. Coming to the video function, here we have also the file naming, destination, and now we have the frame rate. And this one goes up in full HD up to 60p, 50p, 30p, 24p, and the cinema 25, and then the cinema with 24p. The small HD resolution 60p or 50p. Yes, and I know you're asking what's with 4K. no 4K, still no 4K in this camera. We only have full HD in this camera. Then we have the movie quality. You can change between high and normal. Microphone sensitivity, you can set up the different settings here, auto sensitivity or manual sensitivity, and this one you can also set for the external microphone. So this works also for the external microphone. Frequency response, if you use wide range, you have the full frequency spectrum. If you use this one, you only have the vocal range. So if you make an interview or stuff like this, you should make the setting vocal range. Wind noise reduction, image area, white balance, picture control, high ISO noise reduction, and these are mostly the same settings like in photography. Coming to the custom setting menu, going to the autofocus, here first the important setting of the AFC priority selection. You can change between release and focus. In my opinion, if you work in autofocus continuous, I would use release, and if you work in autofocus single, I would use focus, because you want to have a sharp picture, and that's the reason why I use focus. If you work in autofocus continuous, you take pictures of moving things, fast moving things, and therefore me, it's more important to get the picture even if it's not exactly sharp, but I want the picture, and that's the reason why I use in the AFC priority selection release instead of focus. Focus tracking with lock-on focus point illumination, these are the focus point in the viewfinder. You have the focus point wraparound, the number of focus points. We can change between 51 and 11 points. I would suggest 51. Store point orientation, if you turn between landscape and portrait mode. Built-in, I have assist illuminator. Then the ISO sensitivity step, matrix mirroring. So these are the most of these points are in the other cameras. You may know these points from the D610 and the D810 or the other Nikon cameras. So there are not the big differences between these menus, and I think these are the normal settings you can make. You have the self timer here. Function I like very much is the self-timer delay, but I like more the number of shots and the interval between the shots. So if you make a picture of yourself with your family or a big group, you can make a self-timer delay of 10 seconds, and then you say, okay, I want like 5 shoots here, I want 5 shoots, and I want 5 shoots, press OK. And I want the interval between each shot is 1 second. So I have 5 seconds, 5 shots, and I can manage it with my family, that they smile, that they jump or stuff like this. So I think that's a real nice function. I like this one very much. Monitor of delay, remote duration, the beep, continuous low speed. Here you can set up the speed for the setting here on the dial CL, continuous slow. The highest one is 6 frames per second. That's also the speed for the CH, so for the continuous high mode. Maximum continuous release 100, exposure delay mode, flash warning, file number. So you see these are the different settings. Here we have the MD D16 battery type and the battery order. That means, yes, we have an external grip to put on the camera for portrait format and for a spare battery in this compartment, so you can use the camera a little bit longer, and if you make a lot of portraits, it's a little bit easier to hold if you have the grip under the camera. Flash sync, shutter speed. Okay, here one question again. Highest flash sync speed is 1 over 250th of a second. So this is the fastest speed. Exposure compensation, auto flashing, bracketing. We have different bracketing functions. And here you can sign the different buttons. One very important point, and that's the one I want to show you now, is the point here in the movie menu, because if you go to the movie menu, you can sign the FN and the preview button. The FN and the preview button are these two buttons here in front of the camera. We have here the FN and we have here the preview button. To explain what you can make here, I have to make a short cut to the movie function. When you make movies with a camera, usually you have three parameters. First one is a zoom move, so you make a zoom while you take the movie. Second one is you move the focus from a point far to a point close, or instead of this, from a point close to a point far. You use a small aperture number, a big aperture size, and have a low depth of field. And so if you turn the focal setting, then you turn the point, the sharp point from the front, turn the sharp point to the back front. So you can move the sharpness forward and backwards while using a big aperture, small number, big aperture, and turn the focus dial to move the focus point backwards and forwards. And the third point is change the depth of field. You can get this depth of field smaller while using a big aperture, small number, or you can get a big depth of field using a small aperture, big number. The problem is usually lenses like this, they don't have a dial for the aperture. You have no dial here. You have only the dial for the focal length to zoom and the dial to set up the sharpness. So you only have these two dials, but you don't have the dial to change the aperture. And even if you have the dial to change the aperture, usually it makes click, 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 and you have certain points where the aperture stops. You can use cinema lenses, because cinema lenses are very special. They have a continuous aperture. They can change the aperture continuously. And so this is one reason why Nikon put a very interesting feature here in the 750. So if you turn the dial here to A, go to the movie function, and then you go to assign the FN button. And here you say power aperture open, and then you go to the preview button, and here you said power aperture close. So what does it mean? I will show you. We go to the video function, press live view. Important, we have to have ISO auto, and then remove the front cap. And then what happens when I press the FN button or the other button? You will see, look to the aperture is changing. So now we have aperture 22, and if I press the FN button, the lower one, you will see how the aperture goes up to 2.8. So I have the possibility to change the aperture with a motor, and so I can change the depth of field even if I don't have a cinema lens. To show you how this works, I can show you here. Here's my Mac, and here you see we have now this point sharp. I have to look, this point here is sharp, and the background, the icons are not sharp. And now what happens when I press the button? You see the backgrounds get almost completely sharp. The way back, background gets unsharpened. To get the correct to get a correct picture, you will also recognize that the auto setting is adjusted when I change the aperture. So when I change the aperture and close the aperture, you see how the values of the ISO setting going up and up and up and up. So that's the reason why you have to use here the ISO auto setting, because then you only can use the motor aperture, or yes, the motorized change of the aperture. I think that's the best name to give it. Yeah, and so that's a real nice feature. The only problem, I think it's not absolutely continuous. You may see a little bit jumps in the video, but I think you can reduce this in post-production. But still, it's an absolutely nice and gorgeous feature in a camera like this. So go back to the menu. So this was the movie section. Coming now to the setup menu, and in the setup menu, I don't want to show you each point because most of the points you know, but one point I will show you, and this point is very important. That's the HDMI, and here in the HDMI you should set the device control to off. Why? Because if you use a normal TV screen at home and put it to on, with my Samsung it happened that the Samsung takes control over the camera when this one is on, and I'm able only to replay pictures. I'm not able to see the live picture on the screen, and so I think it's important to turn off the picture control to get a live picture. When you press the live view button, to get a live picture on the external screen. If you want to make movies, you have to have an external screen because this one is too small. You have to, if you want to make it professional or semi-professional, you have to have an external screen, because only when you have an external screen you are able to see the picture, to control the picture, and therefore it's important to get the HDMI output, and the reason is device control off. So then it's guaranteed you will see the HDMI output or the live picture here. Next point is advanced. If you go to advanced output range, you can set limited range or full range, output display size, and one important point is the live view on screen display. If you turn this one off, then you only will see the live view picture with no settings here. If you see the live view, you have the different settings down here, or the not settings but the informations, and so you can change. I want to see the information on the external monitor on the HDMI output, or I want to have the clean picture without any information. Maybe I want to record it on an external device, and therefore it's very important that I can make the setting here in advanced live view on-screen display on and off. So these are the two settings which you can change to make the difference between the live picture. Next one is location data, GPS module, and Wi-Fi, as I said before, but here we have only the network connection to transmit the pictures to your computer or select to send to the smart device. As I said before, I didn't find a point to remote control the D750 with my smartphone. Okay, but maybe in a later version it comes. So, have a look at the screen. You know, if I press the info button, I will get the important information here on my screen, like the shutter speed, aperture, ISO setting, and stuff like this. In former times, when you press one of these buttons, white balance, you only see the changes here on the screen. They change this one. If you press now the white balance button, you will see here that the camera, it's a little bit difficult to hold, you will see that the camera says what you can change with the front dial and what you can change with the back dial. So if you turn the front dial, you see we change the individual white balance. If you turn the back dial, we change the presettings, and if you go to the Kelvin value, you can change the Kelvin value then with the front dial. In my opinion, that's very good, because lots of photographers didn't know that when they press one of these buttons, they can make changes with both of the dials. So you have different changes with the front and the back dial. If we go to quality, I can show you this one also. With the front dial, you change the size L, M or S. And with a back dial, you can change between basic and the different RAW plus basic or JPEG settings, or only RAW setting. And so I think this is a very good idea, because the information here is good to know which dial is for what. When you go to the ISO setting, you can set the front dial if you want the auto ISO or not, and you can go to the back dial to make the individual ISO setting. So that's a very good idea to change this. And the next point is, if you have the switch here, you know you can change between autofocus and manual focus, and if you press the button in autofocus mode, you have the different autofocus setting. And this I want to show you also, because it is very nice. Here you see the autofocus area mode, and you can change with the front dial between 9 autofocus areas, 21 autofocus areas, or all 51 autofocus area, the 3D mode, where the camera follows objects which are moving from left to right, like tennis players. And then we have the special mode, where the camera has one autofocus field and 4 help fields around the main autofocus field. Then we have the big autofocus field, the wide autofocus field, also known as a wide autofocus field, and we have the single autofocus field. With the back dial, we change between autofocus single S, autofocus C continuous, and the mode autofocus automatic, where the camera decides by herself which autofocus mode she used, the autofocus single mode or the autofocus continuous mode. One thing changed to the former models. If you want to move the autofocus point, you see I'm now here in a single autofocus point. I have now one single autofocus point. If I want to move the autofocus point, usually I do it with the 4-way button, and you see a small icon here where the 51 autofocus fields you can see, and the 1 autofocus field, which is the one you has chosen. And if you move the 4-way button, you see how the autofocus field moves in these 51 fields. And this one is gone. You can put the button, but there is no autofocus field. You see here, I tried different settings, I tried different stuff, I pressed the button in front. Honestly, I didn't find a solution to get this one. I looked also in the menu and didn't find anything in the menu. So I think Nikon has changed this. But you see the autofocus point when you look through the viewfinder. When you look through the viewfinder, then you see how the autofocus point moves in the 51 field. So you see the autofocus point even if you make the settings of 9 autofocus fields. You see the 9 autofocus fields red marked in the viewfinder, so you are able to move the autofocus field for sure, that's important, but you're not able to see, that's my opinion or that's my result, you're not able to see this one here at the back screen. You see I have now 9, and when I press the button nothing happens. It says only 9, but there's no field where you can see the autofocus areas moving in this 51 fields. But if you know this, put the camera in front of your eye, move the autofocus field, and that's it. So yes, you can. 100% viewfinder, I should mention, 100% viewfinder, so you have the complete area which you see in the viewfinder. So these are the different autofocus settings. I think I will make an extra video to the autofocus or to the focus settings of the camera and give you a little bit tips and tricks to the autofocus setting like I have done for the 7100 and the other cameras, and I give you a little bit more tips and tricks also to the 750 if you like so, because I think it's a camera which is very long in the market or will stay long in the market like the 7100, and so it's absolutely worth, it's absolutely good to make a little bit more tips and tricks videos with especially with the autofocus options, because these are the points where most of the photographers are unsure which autofocus option they should use and how they should use or work with the different autofocus settings. Coming back here to the top dial for the programs, when you go to the effects mode, it's very easy to change the different settings. Just turn the dial or press the shutter release a little bit and then turn the dial, and then you see you have the different settings here: night vision, color sketch, miniature effect, selective color, silhouette, high key and low key. And exactly the same if you turn the dial here to the setting scene. Again, if you turn the back dial, you're in the scene program and you can change between the different setting: portrait, landscape, child, and so on and so on. Here you have the different setting, so that's very easy to change the different settings of the camera in the scene and the effects mode. Yes, so these are the most important points of the camera. As I said before, one important point is the movie function with the electronic aperture or the electronic changeable aperture. That's a real nice feature. We have the built-in flash, the turnable monitor, Wi-Fi function built in, full HD 50p 60p, so high resolution, no 4K. Okay. So I think this is a real nice camera, and it's a nice full frame camera which gives you good picture quality. Actually, I didn't check the picture quality, but in my opinion it's absolutely the same like in the 610, because it's the same sensor, 24 megapixel APS-C sensor. It should be the same picture quality even with the with less noise in the high ISO settings, like compared to this 810. And so I think the picture quality should be on the same level like the one of the 610. But on my Flickr account you will see in the next days the results of the 750. I will show you the ISO row of my test chart so you can compare it by yourself. One question I often get: what lens do you need? What is your favorite lens? This is one of my absolute favorite, the 24 to 70 millimeter 2.8 lens, because this has a real nice focal spectrum. You can work landscape, you can take pictures in the city, and with 70 millimeter even you have a very good portrait lens. 2.8 gives you a real good aperture in low light situations, sharp, crisp, clear picture. Yes, it's a little bit bigger, the lens, it's not a real small one, but you have excellent picture quality, and this is one of, not my favorite, but it's one of my favorite lenses when I work in FX in full frame format, because the range is really perfect for me to have it all the time with me. If I go for sport or animal photography, yes, I have to use a longer lens like 400 millimeter. But for the normal everyday photography, the 24 to 70 millimeter 2.8 is a real nice lens, and I like this one very much. But there's another one. You may know I take a lot of landscapes, and I like landscapes. And there's another one which is also a new lens which comes out also this year. And that's this one, and I like this one also very much. It's the It's the 20mm 1.8 lens. So a real nice wide angle lens, and one real perfect thing of this one is you have a real close point where you can take pictures. When I go here, the near option is like 20 centimeter. I can show you here. If I go to the live view mode, you will see this one. You see here we have the sharp point, and I think I still can go a little bit closer like this. So if you like to make landscape photography, flowers in the foreground or anything else, stuff in the foreground, sharp, and then big aperture, low number, like 2.8, 3.4, you get a perfect picture. Foreground, excellent sharp, background, blurry, unsharp, nice bouquet. And so yes, the 20mm is also a lens which I like very much, and which is one of my favorite lenses for landscape, because as I said before, 20 centimeter, the closest point, and you see the sensor is here in 20 centimeter, that's 20 centimeter. So that's real close, and yes, I like this one very much. Okay, so these are my two favorite now when I go out in the next days and take pictures with the 750. Okay, 750D, 24 megapixel full frame sensor, turnable monitor, nice video function, new video function. That's it. I like the camera very much. It's a real nice one, good picture quality, and yes, I think Nikon is on a real good way with their full frame cameras. I like this one very much, how they constantly work on their full frame history and put real good cameras in the market. If you enjoy my presentation or my review of the Nikon D750, give me a like here under the video, subscribe my channel, leave a comment, and yes, thanks for watching this presentation. As I said before, I think there will coming up one more video of the 750 with a little bit more tips and tricks, with a little bit more going in depth of the different functions, especially of the autofocus system of the 750. Thanks for watching me, and as always I say bye and moin moin.